Let's go to Warsaw in Poland and speak to Mark Voyger, who's a senior fellow with the Transatlantic Defense and Security Program, also director of the Master's Program in Global Management at American University in Kiev. Mark, always good to have you on. Why is it so difficult for people who live outside of Russia to get a proper understanding of how Russians might feel about the lack of political opposition in their country? We're always told by Russians, Vladimir Putin is popular. And then when we analyze it from abroad, we wonder how he's so popular, but we don't know about the Russian feeling regarding their opposition.
Well, the magic, of course, here is in the numbers. As Comrade Stalin once famously said, it doesn't matter who casts the ballot. All that matters is who counts those. So obviously, it's difficult to produce a statistical results that can actually show you the real figures, whereby people express their real feeling. It's one thing to interview a couple of passers-by in the street. Of course, it's another thing to conduct a real poll the way it's done in the West. It's in this respect, any authoritarian system, and especially Putin's regime, which is an extension in many ways of the Soviet regime, maybe in a milder form, but nonetheless non-democratic. It's easy for them to conceal the real numbers. It's easy to portray this almost enthusiastic attitude by people who compare the now and the then, the generation ago. Of course, stability is what Putin has been banking on, and now this stability it has been shaken. Lately, you probably know, of course, that over the last couple of days, including as we speak, the border regions of Russia have been subjected to massive bombardment by Ukraine, and also by Russian anti-Putin forces that have penetrated the border and are fighting on the Russian side of the border. So, events like this could shake, to a certain extent, this image of invincibility, the image of absolute stability that Putin is trying to portray to the Russian people. And of course, there's differences of opinion. Russians living abroad, you have opposition, anti-Putin forces, but you also have those who are probably comfortable with him. Unfortunately, the Russian society has been atomized, including the immigration, the diaspora. It's difficult to create a common picture out of this multitude of opinions, both within, mostly outside of Russia, but also within.
Generally, of course, Mark, people are going to vote for the candidate who is going to improve their lives. So let's say Vladimir Putin wins over the next 6 years. Is he going to be able to deliver for the Russian people? Because it seems as if the Russian state has almost become in itself a kind of a military industrial complex. Russia is spending more on defense than it is on social spending for the first time in its entire history. And it looks as if Vladimir Putin is putting so much money into defense that that's keeping the economy ticking over. But that surely is not sustainable.
It's not sustainable, as the experience of the Soviet Union clearly demonstrated, that collapsed as a colossus on clay feet under its own weight. But nonetheless, if the horizon is 6 or maybe another 6 plus years, that is 12 years, that is 2 presidential terms, I think Putin and his regime are counting on this militarization, remilitarization, almost Soviet style. I mean, cutting the social services. Pretty much what we used to see in the Soviet economy before the collapse of '91. For now, it's working. Obviously, the machine of the wheels of war are spinning. A lot of is being invested in the defense industrial complex. Obviously, people associated with it are happy. But to what extent this can continue? Of course, we have also the phenomenon of Russian exports of oil and gas, massive quantities still to obviously countries like China, like India, and even to some European and Western buyers. So this is keeping the economy afloat. The sanctions, of course, are taking their toll, but not as quickly as everyone was hoping. So in the long run, is it sustainable? Not. In the short run, unfortunately, if Putin is banking on having Trump in the White House within the next year, then his calculations are that for the coming year, he will be able to kind of both provide the guns and butter at the same time for the Russian people.
Mark Voyger, appreciate the analysis. Mark, thank you.